so hi guys, so we are gonna get straight into it. Alrighty, so I'm just gonna ask you guys some questions. First one is, how do you guys prefer to scout?
So I usually scout in a car. I'll just keep my eyes open throughout the year as I'm driving around through back roads, on fishing trips, going out to work, whatever it is, going to the cabin, and just keeping an eye open for, do I see turkeys? Do I see sign? Where did I see them? When did I see them? What time of year? Sort of thing.
Questions to you guys, but there's a lot of people out there like me who have never even seen a turkey.
These aren't stupid questions. We're just stupid people, so.
Here's your sign.
The next one. What habitat do I find turkeys in?
Turkeys kind of migrate throughout the day. They roost in tall trees, so a roosting bird, but then they spend most all day on the ground because they go down to eat. And they'll go out and eat. They usually make a kind of a circular or follow a pattern because they'll go where they can pick up the different foods that they eat throughout the day. Some gravel. A lot of times they'll be on the side of the road because they'll be eating small gravel that helps them digest the food, helps them grind it up. And then they circle back around and a lot of times roost in the same tree. So there's a lot of different habitat. Depends on the
that was my next question. But my next question was, what are their movement patterns like throughout the day? So you kind of explained that. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
So kind of like he was saying, a lot of people have a lot of success deer hunting, and then they can't seem to get a turkey for the life of them. And it's because they're different animals. Turkeys are most active in the morning. Like for the spring hunt, that's their breeding season, so you can use turkey calls, gobbling, hens chirping. They're most active and gobbling and mating in the morning. They'll fly out of their roost tree. Like you said, they're going to do the same pattern each day. So they'll fly out of their roost tree. They'll find a field or an open space, and they'll start to gobble, start to do that. They'll work their way around to their first feeding area, usually get a drink, and they're active all day. That's why a lot of deer hunters trying to hunt turkeys the same way you'd hunt a deer, it doesn't quite work. Deer will go and bed down. They're active in the morning and the evening. Turkeys are active throughout the day, just finding where they're at a certain particular time.
Okay, cool. This one, because to me they kind of look a little similar sometimes. So, how to tell a difference between a boy and a girl?
I usually tell after I've shot one, then I figure it out.
Don't listen to him.
So there's a hen, and then there's a tom. First year when they're young toms, males, then they're known as jakes, and they don't have the full tail, the fan. They'll have shorter feathers in there and things. But then toms also have a beard. It's in the front. It's looks like it's kind of like horsehair, and it grows out. And then they also have spurs. You can see the spurs on their feet, and that's kind of the trophy for turkey hunters. Also, is the length of the beard and the size of the spurs. So, other than that, when you're hunting them, it's pretty easy to tell because the hens don't strut and the toms strut, which means they fluff up their feathers, their wings, and they drum them. They'll vibrate, and it sounds like a drum, and rub it along the ground as they try to impress the ladies.
Alrighty. What time of the day is best to spot them?
Like Russell said, you see them throughout the day, so it depends on where they're going. When we are turkey hunt, we'll see them, we'll spot them because they're just moving. They're constantly. Turkeys don't ever really sit still. They're always, even while they're eating, they're moving along, and so you spot them. But then knowing their patterns, and you can sit and wait for them to come. But the other thing about turkeys in the spring, like Russell said, is it's their mating season. So any noises and stuff, they'll come after you. We've hunted a couple times where we got chased down by a tom and had to dive for our blind and then shoot it. But they're active. You see them all the time, but I think more the sound and they're not really afraid of humans. They really don't care about humans, so they'll fly if they see you just because they're smart, but they'll walk right up to you as well.
And that's one thing I've kind of noticed is that they're they're the smartest dumb animal I've ever met. They see about 6 times better than a person. They can hear you as well. They can't smell you, thank goodness. Otherwise, you'd never kill one. But they're not really worried. You know, deer hunters are, you know, you have to hide, you have to blend in. Turkeys, they really don't care what you look like or sound like, so long as it's not something that's totally new to them. You know, if you're a novice, if you haven't practiced turkey calling and you're out there trying to call a turkey but you don't sound like a turkey, he'll gobble back, but he's not going to come to you, sort of thing. You know, so it's learning those patterns. And as far as seeing them, I find that I see them going to water about midday. Like I said, this is just me driving around in the woods. I'll see them going to water around midday. I'll always see them in fields in the morning eating and strutting. And then in the evening, I'll see them working their way back towards their roost tree.
Okay.
And they'll always pick the same tree. They'll always go to the same exact tree.
Is there anything else you guys can add on the calling? Because I feel like there's kind of a science behind it, like the different types of calls. Or does it matter to you guys?
It matters.
It matters. And I don't know. I've always liked the box scratch just because that's what I've used. But there's, 15 or 20 different kind of calls that people, they have the diaphragm you put in your mouth that you can chirp, or you've got the big gobbler that you shake and it gobbles. And so there's a lot of different kinds. It's kind of like hunting whitetail, where you can bang the horns together and the sound of the fight attracts them. So a good gobble will attract a rival tom to come and fight, and so you can get them that way.
Okay. Here's some more fun questions. What's your guys' favorite turkey hunting memory?
Mine was my very first turkey. And this was up at Deer Springs Ranch. I was hunting with him, and we had found their roost tree. And like I said, they follow a pattern. They always go to the same tree every night to sleep. And then every morning they'll fly out of the same tree and usually go to the same field. Like they're predictable. And so if you can find them before the hunting season and find like where the tree is and where all this is, then you'll have a pretty successful hunt because you know where they're going to go. Well, we didn't scout before the season started. We scouted at the start of the season. And so we were having trouble finding where they were at when they were there. We knew they were in the area. We kept hearing them. We'd chirp and they'd gobble back. We could never track them down. Finally, we found where the roost tree was. So we went and we set up shop right underneath it. Figuring that they'd come in and then fly up. So we'd wait there for them. When they came to bed, then we'd be there to smoke them. Well, that was the year that I learned that turkeys don't come and fly up. They go uphill and fly straight into it. So we're chirping, we hear gobbles back, but like we can hear him, he's circling around us on this hillside, and we're like, oh, as soon as he comes down, we're going to get him, we're going to smoke him. Well, we come around, and all of a sudden we hear, and he comes flying in over the treetops, and we're here under this big pine tree, looking over these junipers, and this big black bird, and my dad's like, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him. So I swung up, and it was like we were hunting pheasants, but big pheasants. And right as he was getting to the tree, it's illegal to shoot them out of the tree, by the way. You have to shoot them on the ground. You can't shoot them at roost. Well, he didn't quite make it to roost, so it was technically a legal shot. And I shot him out of the air, and he whacked the tree and fell down.
That would have scared me.
It was kind of funny.
Out of nowhere, huh?
It was kind of funny when we would still talk about that, because it was one of those things.
You weren't
that's
expecting it, huh?
Not at all. But I mean, they're loud when they fly, so we hear, and I mean,
big bird.
I grew up. He runs a hatchery, so I grew up around birds. Chickens, ducks, turkeys, pheasants, geese, quail, you name it. So I knew I knew the sound when I heard it, that it was a turkey going to roost. But it was funny because we did not see him until he was almost to the tree.
That's awesome. What's your favorite turkey hunting memory?
The first one that comes to mind, because it seems like every one of them's been great. I love to hunt turkeys. It's the best thing. But to be able to interact with them and call and see them strutting and putting on a show. But one time we went and we parked the truck up the road, and we had a blind set up, and so we didn't, we parked so that we wouldn't interfere or make noise. And we got out, and I thought, well, let's give a call and see. And right then it gobbled back, and so we start going towards our blind, but every time we'd hit a tree or a bush, it would gobble again, and it was getting closer. It was catching us. So we go faster and faster. We go to a jog, and then next thing you know, Russell and I are sprinting to our thing, and the turkey's right behind us chasing us down. And we come into the baseball slide under the tree and sit there, and right there, the turkey was right behind us. If I remember right, Russell was under a tree on one side, and I was at another tree, and the turkey was coming in, and I was like, it was the first day of the hunt, it was opening morning, and I was like, Russell, don't shoot, boom!
Because you wanted to keep hunting.
I wanted to keep hunting, but it was...
I was like, I'm not
so
gonna...
it was chasing you guys
Yeah.
to the point you had to slide.
Yeah, we were sprinting down through the woods to get to our blind so we could hide. And
because we didn't want him to see us, because we knew, like, if he sees us, he'll know that we're not hens, and he'll stop chasing us. And, I mean, at this point, we could hear him, but we couldn't see him for a shot. So it was like, we need to get hidden so that he'll come into view so we can get a shot off. But he was coming after us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. And then we went back to the truck. Trent, that's running the camera, he
Hi,
didn't want
Trent.
he didn't want to get out with us and go hunt, so he stayed in the truck. But then the truck was being overwhelmed with turkeys right there, because they started strutting around the truck and making noise. He said, "You missed all the turkeys," and he said, "No, we had plenty of turkeys where we were."
Man.
Because, they'll strut in any open space. So usually, like, dirt roads. If it's a forested area, then dirt roads will be a good spot for them to go and strut and make noise. And, we got chased by one that we shot and killed. And then he's like, there was, like, 5 or 6 of them right here. They were just, gobbling at the truck and pecking the tires.
Trent, he was just chilling. Wasn't even telling you guys about it.
I'm the most successful one out of all of you.
Could you guys real quick explain to my subscribers the different types of shots you can use and the ones you prefer? Or ammo, I guess.
I just throw rocks.
On the tags it says any legal weapon, but that means you can shoot with a bow, you can hunt with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with turkeys is they've got their feathers protect them, and I've seen a lot of guys that shoot bows and they'll deflect the arrows.
Oh, wow.
And so you have to hit them
Right in the head,
really good, or dead on. And
Mm-hmm.
we use shotguns, 12 gauge, 20 gauge. It has to be, can't be a 410, so it has to be a higher gauge, and they have turkey shot or higher, velocity shot.
Higher lead shot.
Yeah, around here a lot of times they want you to use the steel shot, because they have the condors that will come and scavenge the game that gets away, and the lead pellets poison the California condors. So they sometimes want you to use the steel shot, and but it varies. You can use kind of whatever fits you.
That's nice.
I mean, and like you said, any legal weapon, they don't really tell you, but if you look on the backs of a box of shotgun shells, it'll tell you, like, what that's kind of geared towards, because there's different size shots. The smaller the number is, the larger the pellet size, so the heavier it is.
Mm-hmm.
And for turkeys, like, you want something bigger, heavier. So number 6, number 4 is probably, like, 4-shot, 6-shot is probably the sweet spot for me, at least. Anything higher than 6, like for doves, like you said, it'll bounce off their feathers.
It's like their armor.
Yeah, so I like 6. I prefer 4, because then it's heavier, so it can go further, and it's got more penetrating power. And I always aim for the head, because there's no feathers to protect their head.
Okay, yeah.
They're not wearing helmets.
I know this sounds very beginner, but I'm a novice, and I want to make sure everyone understands everything. But would you describe what a roost tree is?
So turkeys are like a lot of birds, where they'll sleep in a tree. They don't make a nest in the tree, but they'll, like, sleep on the branches.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll go to that same tree every single night. They'll sleep up in the branches to keep them safe from ground predators at night. And like I said, they're not deer. They sleep all night long, and then they're awake all day long. And so, yeah, they'll fly into that tree. They'll sleep on their favorite branch at night.
Oh, okay.
And then in the morning, they'll fly out. That way they're safe from predators all night long. And the best way to find a roost tree is, like, if you've spotted turkeys in the area, start looking for the tallest tree you can find, or a group of standing tall trees. We're in southern Utah where there aren't a lot of tall trees, so they're kind of easy to spot.
Okay.
And then if you hike to it, around the bottom, you'll find poop, feathers, signs that turkeys have been there, because when they poop at night, it falls straight down.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think my last question I can think of is, what advice or tips would you give to my subscribers to ensure the most that they leave successful at a hunt? What's like the most?
Do you want to go first?
I think researching a little bit, the Fish and Game puts out a proclamation that's just for turkeys. There's the
I didn't know
different
that.
proclamations for small game, big game, ground birds. What are those called? Upland game.
Upland game.
Upland game, fur trappers. There's all these, and turkeys have their own proclamation. There's certain rules that show where you can hunt and when and things like that. But knowing the rules and then knowing your turkeys, going and finding them and learning to call. That's, like I said, the fun part isn't killing it. The fun part is talking to it and getting it to answer and to come in and to outwit it, kind of like fly fishing, that you're outsmarting it. And so that's, I think it's one thing that new people need to do, is read and learn and then just go out. It's a lot of fun.
For me, yeah, kind of like, growing up, we always had turkeys, so I'd go out and I'd practice calling to the turkeys in the yard, because I know that they'll answer and I can kind of learn how a turkey should sound. So my advice would be, get out early, find where the turkeys are at in your area well before the hunt starts. Start watching them. Start calling the winter before the hunt so that you can practice. If you go out and you're just on a chirp box, just they'll probably answer, but they won't come to you because they know you're not a turkey.
Mm-hmm.
So learn where they're at, find like where they're going, learn how they sound, start practicing, start figuring that all out. Because that's why I like hunting turkeys more than deer, is just because it's an intelligent hunt. It's getting out in the woods, getting out there, getting dirty, hiking, figuring out where they are, what they're doing. Because like, for an animal with a brain the size of a walnut, they're deceptively smart birds. Yeah. They gobble at the truck. They're not
Smart
rocket
and stupid.
They're not rocket scientists. Like, I've slammed the door and they'll go.
It's just they're not afraid of the truck. They're not afraid of things, and so they'll gobble, and they,
But they also know, like, if they see that you're not a turkey and you don't sound like a turkey, they won't approach you. They won't run away, but they'll stay far enough back that you can't hurt me, sort of thing.
Is there any questions you guys have that you think would be good for right now?
I think your subscribers should maybe YouTube or Google some good wild turkey recipes, because
how to cook them? Yeah.
That was my very first one. When I got my very first turkey, then we were cleaning it, and the gamey smell, and it was very overwhelming, and I was sick. I couldn't eat it, so I gave it to a buddy of mine, and he cooked it. But it's easy to, game is harder to eat than just your butterball or venison, so you need to know how to cook it. Otherwise, it doesn't taste good, and then you're picking BBs out and stuff that, so you...
Yes. I found for me the best recipe, because it's not a butterball store-bought turkey. It's not Thanksgiving turkey dinner. It's got a different taste to it. And for me, I've had that where it was not very delicious, but I found out if you do boneless wings, cut it into chunks, which helps to pick out all the BBs and stuff that might be in there. You have to cut it up anyway. Cut it into little chunks, bread, batter, deep fry, and then cover them in sauce. That's the best way I found.
Yeah. Is there any questions you can think of that
Like questions for you?
I can
or-
edit anything out, so
Yeah.
you can be
Like, questions for
natural
you,
and
or-
There's
on
some
camera.
other things that it says in the proclamation because they changed for a long time. It was just the fall hunt, but then they started doing, or excuse me, a spring hunt. They had different spring hunts, but then they started doing a fall hunt. But the turkeys aren't breeding then, so it's more of a like a deer hunt where you're
You just
spot
chase
and
him.
stock.
Spot and stalk, have to catch them unawares as they're passing through.
Yeah,
That one's,
I
it's
like
harder.
the springs because you get to call and
Yeah.
they strut and everything.
It's funny looking.
But
Yeah, you guys-
turkeys, and they get used to people. We've got them where they come into town and they've had to start trapping them, moving them because they'll start making themselves at home, chasing kids at the elementary school and
Yep.
stuff
They
like that.
chase-
Yeah.
I need to get that on video.
Like I said, they're deceptive where at the high school, they'll chase kids around, pick on people. One time they injured a dog because they were just chasing it down the street. But
Oh, man.
out in the woods, for some reason, there's years where I get skunked. I mean, it's a hunt. It's hard. It's not like a guarantee if you do this thing, it will work. It's a hunt. There's a reason why it's a difficult thing. There's a reason why not everyone does it. And yeah, for some reason, out in the woods, sometimes they're easy. Sometimes they're not.
I mean, because this is my very first year turkey hunting, and this is why I'm doing this segment, is because I don't know what I'm doing. And so I thought instead of pretending to be a vet and that I know what I'm doing, I can bring you guys along with me, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who don't know what they're doing and they're afraid to try turkey hunting because they don't know what to do. And so you guys can learn from my mistakes, but the very first time, sorry, one sec, is when he took me out and I saw their tracks. I was a little scared because their feet,
Huge.
when you think turkey, you kind of think like, oh, Thanksgiving turkey, but then when you see those, you're like, I almost don't want to see that in person.
It's a dinosaur.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say that. I mean, I don't know much either. That's the thing is, don't be afraid if you're a novice, if you're learning. Like, everything that I know is just because I don't know anything, but I get out there and I just try. I'm gonna try this, and then if it doesn't work next year, I'm gonna do something else. Asking different people that I know. Find the people, because everywhere has turkey enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And like hunting in each part of the country is going to be a little bit different. So find those hunting enthusiasts in your area. Ask, pick their brains, because that's the thing with, turkey hunting is people are more forthcoming with information. Maybe they'll have their secret spot they won't tell you, but they'll definitely help you learn how to call. Here's what works for us. This is about yada, yada, yada. It's like fishing, where they might not give you their honey hole spot, but they'll tell you, hey, garlic marshmallows works every time when you're at Panguitch Lake. I don't know. I'm not a fisherman. I suck at fishing. But
You did catch one with your hands.
I did catch one with my hands. It was dead already, but I did. It was alive. I was
Okay.
kidding. But yeah, just not being afraid. Just get out there. Like, heck, if you get skunked your first year, no sweat. Just get out there and try. Learn. Be a student of the sport. Be a student of the prey. Learn what your prey is doing. That's what makes a hunter. It's not, can you carry a gun and shoot at things? It's learn what they're doing. Learn how to take one of them.
Yeah.
Trial and error. Lots of it.
I think I need to stoke the fire. I'm getting chilly.
Yeah, and we've been at it for 25 minutes, so anything you can think of, Trent, that we should add?
Not in particular. I'm not much of a turkey hunter myself.
He's a fly fisher.
He is going to be more on my paranormal investigations. He is our historian, by the way, so.
He's the local historian.
I don't know about historian, but he is full of it. So
I'll tell you stories. They may or may not be true.
The smoke's coming right to you.
He's a He's a good fisherman too. He's a
He is
fly
a good
fisherman.
fisherman.
Not because he's good at fishing, but because he's good at telling fisherman stories.
Yeah. Alrighty.